What's up, everybody? It is October 22nd, and we are in The Art of War, the first chapter, revisiting some foundational principles. So, the moral law of the five, the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with their ruler, so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undismayed by any danger. 6. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Heaven. 7. Earth compromises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. This is very important because we've already seen in some reflections about the difference between open ground and narrow passes and how he talks about that. And so I think that's important to remember. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. Number 9, by method and discipline are to be understood the marshalling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of the military expenditure. So method and discipline just is everything. Method and discipline is just running the machine of your life, of your body, etc. 10. These 5 heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. And I think we stop there today. I think that we might want to go ahead and make a little tab here, a little burgundy tab for the moral law, number 4. And then let's go over to an alternate translation and just spend a little bit of time, because Jang Yu, it looks like, has a very long reflection. Therefore, measure in terms of 5 things. Use the assessments to make comparison and thus find out what the conditions are. The 5 things are the way, the weather, the terrain, the leadership, and discipline. So for some of you Star Wars fans, the way might be fun for you. Dumu reflects that 5 things are to be assessed: the way, the weather, the lay of the land, the leadership, and discipline. These are to be assessed at headquarters. First, assess yourself and your opponent in terms of these 5 things, deciding who is superior. Then you can determine who is likely to prevail. Having determined this, only then can you mobilize your forces. Cao Cao says assessments of the following items are to be made at headquarters: the leadership, the opponent, the terrain, troop strength, distance, and relative danger. And Wang Chi says assess the leadership, the environmental conditions, discipline, troops, officers, and the system of rewards and punishments. You have to know the rewards and punishments. Interesting perspective. Jing Yu says Master Guan said that assessments should be made at home before sending troops abroad. Assessments are the first order of business in military operations. Some say that military operations should be adjusted right on the spot in confrontation with the opponent. But General Cao Cao says that assessments should be made at headquarters. This is because it is imperative first to assess the wisdom of the leaders, the strength of the opponent, the lay of the land, and the number of troops. Then when the 2 armies confront one another, the adaptations to be made are determined by the leadership in a manner consistent with these calculations. Okay. So to continue, that says a lot to me. To continue, discipline means that regulations are strict and clear. The reason that leadership and discipline come last in this list of 5 things is that whenever you mobilize to attack those who have done you wrong, it is necessary first to look at the matter of whether you are appreciated and trusted by your own people, then to assess the favorability of otherwise, of weather conditions, and then examine the qualities of the terrain. Once these 3 things are fulfilled, then a leader is appointed to go forth on the expedition. Once the army has gone forth, all orders come from the general. Wang Chi says that harmony among people is the basis of the way of military operations. The right weather and an advantageous position help. When these 3 elements are present, then it is the time to discuss mobilizing the army. Mobilizing the army requires ability on the part of the leadership. When the leadership is able, then there will be good discipline. So, man, they reflect on all of this stuff. We might have to slow that down and just use this for the next one. All right. All right, and let's go over to the Daily Stoic. Running low on time. October 22nd. So the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. It's easy to get better, but better at what? So someone's good at taking down an opponent. but that doesn't make them more community minded or modest or well prepared for any circumstance or more tolerant of the faults of others. Marcus Aurelius Meditation 7.52. So someone's good at taking down an opponent. All right. So just like we were talking about in Sun Tzu's Art of War, like it's better to come up with all of this at the command center rather than shoot from the hip out in the wild and make decisions on the fly. Someone's good at taking down an opponent, but that doesn't make them more community minded or modest or well prepared for any circumstances or more tolerant of the faults of others. I think this is a very important reflection. Self improvement is a noble pursuit. Most people don't even bother, but we're bothering because we're reading Sun Tzu and Stoicism, and we're literally taking East and West and meeting in the middle. We're creating a magnet of good and bad, North and South, East and West in our mind. Almost like maybe the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in a spiritual sense. But among those who do, it's possible for vanity and superficiality to corrupt this process. This is true. Do you want six-pack abs because you are challenging yourself and committing to a difficult goal, or is it because you want to impress people with your shirt off? Are you running that marathon because you want to test your limits, or because you're running away from your problems at home? Our will shouldn't be directed at becoming the person who is in perfect shape or who can speak multiple languages but who doesn't have a second for other people. What's the point of winning at sports but losing in the effort to be a good husband, wife, father, mother, son, or daughter? Let's not confuse getting better at stuff with being a better person. One is a much bigger priority than the other. Confuse getting better at stuff. And this is almost reflective in and of itself. I mean, getting better at the stuff of reading and stoicism and reflecting. It is almost if you were negative Black Mirror kind of reflection. So depending on how deep you want to take how you're seeing it, but just because we're good at this doesn't mean we necessarily are good at being a good person out there in the real world. And I think that as we move forward and reflect and do these things, it's important to remember that when you eat that peanut butter sandwich, is this the condition I so feared? And so, like, when you get treated badly by someone else, mirroring in kind does not necessarily make you the winner. You know, is this the condition I so feared? Okay, so what? Just do you and focus, move on, and keep standing tall.